23,316,108 people from approximately 170 countries, signing a petition calling for Argentina's permanent ban from future World Cups. The target was 5 million signatures. The final total was 4 times that, collected in under 1 week. The petition was called Argentina Out. It was launched during the 2026 World Cup, and its closing message, published after Argentina lost the final to Spain 1-0. FIFA ignored us, but Spain delivered. Thank you, Spain. This is not a fringe internet campaign that briefly went viral. 23 million signatures puts it within just over 1 million of the all-time Guinness World Record for the most signed petition in human history. To understand why 23 million people from 170 countries signed it, you need to understand the summer that produced it. And it starts with a single sentence on a change.org page. The petition lived on change.org and separately at argentinaaut.com. Its exact text is worth reading in full because it captures precisely what 23 million people were thinking when they added their name. It is obvious that FIFA and the referees are biased toward Lionel Messi and Argentina. Why should the rest of the world compete when the winner has already been decided? Kick Argentina out of the World Cup and give everyone else a fair chance. The numbers in context. The original target was 5 million signatures. The petition passed that within days. The final total, 23,316,108, was drawn from approximately 170 countries. Not a domestic campaign, not a regional protest, a global one. Goal.com called it one of the most circulated petitions in history. GB News noted it fell tantalizingly short of entering the record books. The all-time Guinness World Record for the most signed petition in history belongs to the Jubilee 2000 Debt Relief Campaign, a late 1990s movement calling for the cancellation of developing world debt, which gathered 24,319,181 signatures. The Argentina Out petition came within just over 1 million of surpassing it. A petition calling for a football team's ban from a tournament came closer to the all-time record for global petition signatures than almost any cause in the 21st century. A second petition, entirely separate from Argentina Out, was also launched during the same tournament window, calling specifically for Argentina's round of 16 victory over Egypt to be replayed. 2 petitions running simultaneously, both gathering significant numbers, both pointing at the same underlying perception that something was wrong, and then Argentina lost the final to Spain 1-0 after extra time, and the petition's organizers published their closing message. Not a fresh list of demands, not a renewed call for action, just 8 words. FIFA ignored us, but Spain delivered. Thank you, Spain. FIFA made no public response to the petition, not a statement, not an acknowledgement, not a single word directed at 23 million signatories from 170 countries. The closing message was not a complaint directed at FIFA anymore. It was a verdict on them. The petition organizers were not responding to one decision. They were responding to a pattern that had been building match by match across an entire tournament. Start with the round of 16, July 7th, Atlanta. Egypt versus Argentina. Egypt leading 2-0 with 11 minutes remaining. Argentina score 3 times and win 3-2. The specific controversy: Egypt's Mostafa Zico scored in the 58th minute, appearing to make it 2-0. VAR recommended a review. A foul by Egypt's Marwan Atia on Lisandro Martinez's foot approximately 17 seconds before the goal and roughly 80 meters from where it was scored. The referee reviewed and canceled the goal. Egypt did score a legitimate second to go 2-0, but Argentina scored 3 in the final 11 minutes, including Messi's 8th goal of the tournament, to complete a comeback that had no business happening. The reactions were immediate. Egypt's coach Hossam Hassan publicly alleged there may have been pressure on the referee to keep Argentina in the tournament. The Egyptian Football Federation formally asked FIFA to investigate. Rob Green, commentating live for Fox, said directly, "Surely this is not within VAR's remit to review this." Academic researchers at The Conversation published a piece focused on the precise question: whether a foul 17 seconds earlier and 80 meters from goal can be considered one continuous move connected to the goal. Former referee Chris Foy said yes. Former referee Mark Clattenburg said no. FIFA's Pierluigi Collina publicly defended the call and moved on. Then the quarterfinal, Switzerland versus Argentina, Kansas City. Switzerland the more threatening side at 1-1 in the 72nd minute. VAR intervenes, completely reversing the referee's initial call, rescinding a yellow card from Paredes and giving Briel Embolo a second yellow for simulation. Switzerland play extra time with 10 men. Argentina win 3-1. Swiss coach Murat Yakin. There was definitely no reason to award a yellow card. It was a harmless situation. He should have let play continue. Multiple outlets noted that nearly every Argentina match ended in controversy, with refereeing decisions dominating post-match discussion. Egypt, Switzerland, 2 knockout rounds, 2 moments where a VAR intervention swung the tie Argentina's way. By the time the final kicked off in New Jersey, 23 million people around the world had already signed their name. Spain versus Argentina, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, July 19th. Argentina became the first team on record since records began in 1966 to not register a single shot on target in 90 minutes of a World Cup final. Spain had 20 shots, Argentina had 2, both in extra time. Enzo Fernandez received his second yellow card just before extra time. Ferran Torres scored in the 106th minute. Spain won 1-0, and then the final whistle blew. What happened next was captured on camera from every angle inside one of the most watched venues on the planet. Leandro Paredes grabbed Spain's Eric Garcia by the throat and shoved Gavi, who stepped in to defend his teammate, to the ground. Nahuel Molina struck Spain captain Rodri in the stomach as he ran past celebrating, then crowded him for a verbal confrontation. Nicolas Otamendi confronted Rodri separately. Argentina assistant coach Roberto Ayala confronted Dani Olmo. Ayala later apologized, describing his action as a shove rather than a punch. Lionel Scaloni rushed in to de-escalate. Lamine Yamal went to his knees in prayer as fights broke out in the background, a visual contrast that became one of the most widely shared images of the entire tournament. The Argentina squad turned their backs when Rodri lifted the trophy as Spain formed a guard of honor for the medal walk. Medals were presented by United States President Donald Trump, who was in attendance at the final. FIFA's response: the disciplinary committee appointed a prosecutor to investigate potential breaches of the disciplinary code over the post-match incidents. No timetable was given. No detail on whether witness statements from Spain players would be sought. The referee had shown no cards during the brawl itself. Paredes and Molina were identified as the likeliest to face severe action. A deliberate collision on Rodri, if proven intentional, could yield a significant ban under FIFA rules. A separate counter-petition, launched by an Argentine fan, gathered approximately 100,000 signatures, alleging the final referee made corrupt decisions favoring Spain and calling for a replay. Yahoo Sports described it as lacking any supporting evidence. The Argentina out petition had closed with "Thank you, Spain." By the time the brawl footage had circulated globally, the football world knew exactly what those 3 words meant. Spain manager Luis de la Fuente spoke to Spanish public broadcaster TVE in words syndicated immediately by Sky Sports, AP, and Al Jazeera. His verdict: it is intolerable, inadmissible, and cannot be allowed. Players of that caliber, who have a magnificent coach, surely they must have felt just as bad seeing those reactions. I want to highlight our behavior in the face of that aggression and provocation. Our players always kept their composure and behaved like true professionals. Joe Hart on the BBC did not hold back. There was one man on that pitch who had class, Lionel Messi, who shook hands with every Spanish player. The game is done. They could have absolutely no complaints. Disgusting behavior. Spain fully deserve it. They dominated all game against a rigid, rugged Argentina. The best team won this World Cup. Wayne Rooney, does it surprise you? It does not surprise me. We have seen this with Argentina before. It is just not the reaction you want. If you lose a game of football, be graceful and get out of there. That is a reaction to being outplayed, outfought, and outthought on the pitch. And then they resort to that at the end. Gary Neville called it a disgrace and went directly for Paredes by name. Very competitive, and I love that element of them. But Paredes has just been a disgrace for the last couple of games, and why the referees have allowed him to continue doing what he is doing. Micah Richards, it is quite embarrassing. Paredes does not need to do that. He is better than that, and it does not stop there. It keeps going and going and going. Not good enough. Argentina FA President Claudio Tapia issued a statement. "We could not beat Spain. They were superior, they won fair and square, and we have to acknowledge that." Scaloni said only of Messi that he hoped everyone felt proud, because Messi is the best footballer ever to step foot on a pitch. And through all of it, the brawl, the turned backs, the 23 million signatures, Messi walked across the pitch and shook the hand of every single Spanish player, one by one, in silence, while his teammates fought around him. That single image said more than words. The Argentina petition did not arrive in a vacuum. It arrived at the end of a tournament that had already been defined by a different FIFA scandal, one that had been building since July 1st, before the petition had even launched. USMNT striker Folarin Balogun was sent off in the round of 32 against Bosnia for a foul on Tarik Muharemovic. Automatic one-game suspension, mandatory under the competition regulations. Every team in the tournament had been told exactly this before it started. Then, US President Donald Trump called FIFA President Gianni Infantino directly to request a review. Trump confirmed the call publicly. His words, "All I did was ask for a review because I did not think it was a foul. I did not know what the hell a red card was." He then posted on Truth Social, "Thank you to FIFA for doing what was right and reversing a great injustice." President Donald J. Trump, FIFA suspended the ban for a one-year probationary period. Balogun played against Belgium. The USA lost 4-1 anyway. Belgium's federation described the decision as a direct contradiction of competition regulations and appealed unsuccessfully. UEFA President Alexander Ceferin boycotted the World Cup final specifically over FIFA's handling of the affair. Fair Square, a sports governance watchdog, referred Infantino to the IOC Ethics Commission over his documented ties to Trump. The Independent noted FIFA was increasingly being described as the MAGA World Cup, with decisions appearing more influenced by the host state's requirements than those of running a fair tournament. The same Article 27 mechanism used to lift Balogun's ban had also been used earlier in the tournament cycle to suspend a ban for Cristiano Ronaldo before the competition began. A rule that is supposed to be automatic and non-reviewable, applied selectively, without consistent criteria, at a moment when political and commercial pressure intersected directly with the disciplinary process. By the time the Argentina petition reached 23 million signatures, FIFA had made no public response to the petition, publicly defended every refereeing controversy, appointed a prosecutor for the post-match brawl without a timetable, and allowed a presidential phone call to override its own automatic rules without explanation, all in the same 38-day tournament window. FIFA ignored us, the petition said. Based on the documented record of this summer, that line is very hard to argue with. So, step back and look at the full picture. 23 million signatures from 170 countries, within just over 1 million of the all-time Guinness World Record for the most signed petition in human history, calling for a permanent ban on a football team. A pattern of VAR controversies across multiple knockout rounds. A post-match brawl at the World Cup final under official investigation with no timetable given. A presidential phone call that overrode a mandatory suspension. A UEFA president who boycotted the final. Ethics complaints filed with the IOC. And FIFA's response to all of it, silence on the petition, public defenses of every officiating decision, and $15 billion in revenue announced on the eve of the match, it had turned into a worldwide controversy. Should Argentina be banned? Drop your verdict below, subscribe, and stay close.